Hey everybody, we're going to get started in a few minutes. Um, just allowing everyone some time to log on. I hope you're having a good day. I hope you're having a good day. Let's see. Okay. Okay, we are getting started. All right, y'all. Welcome to the Pro Business Plan course. This is a phenomenal course. Just a little overview about this course and what all it entails. It is the ultimate business course. With this, today my main goal was to talk about, let me get it over here so I can make sure I show you guys. Let's see, start screen share. 1 second. I want to make sure I go over the right thing with you guys. Okay, there we go. Okay, my main goal today was to talk about breaking the bank, right? So everybody wants to talk about breaking the bank. Everybody wants to really kind of just, oh, give me 1 second. Let's see, screen share. Everybody wants to talk about breaking the bank, right? How am I going to break the bank and push profits, right? So when it comes to breaking the bank, okay, there we go. Now we're getting started. Okay, so when it comes to breaking the bank and when it comes to pushing profits, there are certain things that you have to do. There are certain things. Okay, let's see. Okay, there are certain things that you have to do. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, my name is LaShawn D. Gary. If you would like to be acknowledged, go ahead and I see we have a few people that are coming in right now. I have some people that are also on the dial-in number. So basically, when you're talking about marketing and money and pushing profits, the one thing you want to know for sure is that, making money and really growing your brand and your business is really a state of mind. So just a few house rules real quick before we get really in depth. I want you to make sure that if you have questions that you leave it in the chat box. So I'm sitting in the chat right now, so you'll know that this is the chat box. We'll also have an opportunity during the class where you can go ahead and you can also ask questions. So at any time, if you do not understand, remember this is a virtual class, and in these webinars, I like to make sure that I answer all your questions as quickly as possible and if time allows, okay? Okay. All right, next thing we're going to go over, when we're talking about money and profits, let me give you a little bit about my background. Again, my name is LaShawn Gary. I'm the CEO and founder of Dream Build Success. I teach women entrepreneurs and women of faith how to create multiple streams of income and live their dream life. Now, when it comes to living your dream life, there are a lot of fads out there. For me, it is all about purpose. And since I'm a Christian woman, I believe in, the spirit of Christ. And I do not want anything that God does not want me to have, right? So with that being said, I would like for everyone that's on this webinar to use hashtag DBS Pro Class. if you will, during the webinar, if there's something that I say or something that's shared during this course, if you can use DBS Pro Class, that will really, and share it on social media, let your friends and family know, hey, you're learning. You know, I believe that every level of up level has to come through when you capture those moments. You can call them what you want, breakthrough moments, whatever, but you want to make sure, if you would like us to send you a shout out at the end of this webinar, I will have a free giveaway. And so if you will do me the favor and use DBS Pro Class. Okay, so let's go over the whole outline. You know, we already completed lesson one. Lesson one was amazing. Now, lesson two, we're going to talk about marketing and branding. Marketing and branding is going to be phenomenal, right? So this will be broken up. I'll probably break this up into two different courses because there's so much content. I do not believe that I'll be able to get through everything today. So I encourage you to really, you know, chime in if you have an opportunity to you know, maybe come back and look at the course again. I encourage you to really do that. Okay, so week 3, lesson 3, we're going to talk about pushing profits. How do we push profits? How do we get sales goals? How do we get daily sales goals, year-to-date goals, team goals? We'll kind of cover that a little bit today, but basically today is about marketing and branding. So when it comes to branding, when it comes to print design, when it comes to web design, when it comes to digital marketing, has anyone on this course ever had an opportunity to maybe take one of these classes? I'll go ahead and share that at this time. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Let's look at what is marketing. You know, when we look at marketing, we want to kind of look at the breakdown of marketing. You know, marketing is, I learned very quickly on, especially when I was managing, you know, women's apparel. I had to learn the art of managing and marketing really quickly. And what marketing is, basically it's a noun, it's an action in business of promoting and selling products or services, including market research and advertising. But in the most simplest form, when you think of marketing, it's not fancy, it's nothing like that. What it is the perception. So how do your clients perceive you? How does your ministry perceive you? How does, you know, those opportunities or those business owners, how do they perceive you? Do they perceive you as someone that's not worth the investment? Do they perceive you as someone that's not worth the time? Do they perceive you as someone that's worthy of a great investment? Do they even perceive you as someone that would probably, you know, really do good, you know, in that certain market? You know, there are a lot of people, and I see it all the time, and entrepreneurs, they want to really do a certain brand. They want to do a certain business. But what happens is they don't do the market research, right? They are speaking to an audience that's not listening. Okay, so let's go for it. The importance of marketing and business when it comes to the success of your business, right? It is the heart of your business. Success lies in the marketing. So let's look at it as an umbrella. Are you under an umbrella? Are you under, you know, like a hub, right? So the overall marketing umbrella covers advertising, the public relations, the promotions and sales. So when you look at your umbrella and how it's advertised, and you look at the public relations, okay, so what public relations are you passing on? You know, what public relations are you exhibiting to your client base, to your clientele? So what about promotions? Are your promotions aligned with what's going on in the calendar year? Not typically the fiscal year, but what's going on in the current year. So you should have had a 4th of July promotion. Did you have 2 for $35? Did you have a BOGO sale? Did you have, you know, a pay tribute sale? You should be going along with the calendar. The next big holiday that's coming up, you should definitely launch. You know, you should be launching a new product every 90 days. You want to look at it as every 90 days, 30 days to really talk about it, to give hints, to give tips. Within 60 days, you want to make sure that you're really promoting it, you're showing what it is, and that last 30 days, it should be smooth selling for you. Now, when you look at sales, I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense to you guys? Everybody's on mute if you'd like to talk. Okay, very good. Marketing is a process in which a product or service is introduced and promoted to a business that may offer the best products or services in that industry, right? So when you think about products and services and you think about your industry, you have to really look at, okay, within my industry, what am I offering my clients? Within my industry, what else am I exhibiting? Without marketing your business, you may offer products and the best services in the industry, but without potential clients or customers that you have no idea about, how are you going to get them to come to, patronize you? Without marketing and sales, you may crash your company's future. Getting the word out. How are you getting the word out when it comes to your business and branding? When it comes down to the bread and butter, the logistics of your business, how are you getting all that information out, right? So when we look at it, unless your business is, typically like a business has to be a super virtual, right? So when we look at it, okay, so you have to know your community. You have to know the communication skills of your community. So when you look at the communication skills of your community, you have to know, are you an urban designer? Are you talking to an urban clientele? I live in South Texas, so we have this thing called Juneteenth. So when you look at Juneteenth and you think about that clientele and you think about the potential awareness and, really letting those clients know, you have to really make sure that you move according to their listening. Okay. The next thing is, without marketing, your potential customers may never be aware that you're in business, that you offer anything, no products, no skills, no services, no opportunity to progress or succeed. Using the correct marketing to promote your products, services, and your company will do one of two things, right? It will make sure that you're discovered by your prospective clients. Do y'all hear me? This is important. Making sure that you market and promote your products. Do not operate in the spirit of fear. Do not operate in the spirit of failure, believing that you've already failed before you've even started. You have to make sure that you're communicating effectively to your clients, letting them know that one, you're in business. Two, you really want to do business with them, right? So you say, okay, LaShawn, I hear what you're saying, but at the same time, I'm not attracting any new clients. Well, remember, what God has for you is for you. And then you have to make sure that you communicate to them effectively, right? So are you talking to them? Are you talking their language? For an example, if you are in the urban neighborhood, if you're saying, hey, certain language, you have to make sure you look at the urban dictionary. So you break that down. Y'all need to make sure, please take notes. This is some good content, right? Good information. Speak their language. Okay, so let's look at higher sales. When we look at sales and we look at pricing, I know that a lot of clients that they're pricing because it's not priced correctly, they lose a lot of business, right? They don't get the clients that they really desire. They're not getting those high dollar clients, right? So what happens is, once your product or service or company gets on the radar screen of your prospective clients, it increases your chances as a consumer. The consumer will probably purchase. Right? So once they identify, oh, she is open, or oh, he is in business, then what happens is they'll say, you know what? I want to do business with her. Oh, I see that she is open, right? Okay, so let's look at the next thing. As awareness becomes your reality, it is also the point of where your customers start to spread the word. Okay, this is when they start spreading the word. They start talking the business up for you. They start letting people know, hey, you know what? LaShonda is in business, right? LaShonda has a new product coming out. Susie Joe down the street, she has some fantastic new content that's launching today. And so what happens is your client starts working for you. They start helping you, right? Then the next thing is, they start telling your friends and family about amazing new products they discovered, about your sales. Your sales will steadily increase as the word spreads. Right. Now, the next thing you want to look at is without employee marketing strategies, these sales may not ever happen. Without sales, the company cannot succeed. So you want to do one or two things. You want to either pay someone to market your products for you, maybe a PR specialist. If you say, hey, that's just not in my budget, then you need to make sure you get some people around you that do not mind celebrating you and patronizing you, buying your products, buying your content, things like that. And they don't mind sharing the wealth of your knowledge and the wealth of your products, with, Mr. Joe down the street, right? So that's how you're going to obtain your higher sales. Now, I want to keep kind of going forward, right? The next thing is your company reputation. What is your company known for? What is your brand known for? When it comes to marketing, are you a company? Are you a brand that only markets in certain areas? Have you diversified your portfolio enough? Right? The success of a company often rests on the solid reputation. Marketing builds brand name recognition or product recall with a company. When a company reaches the highest expectations of the public, its reputation stands on a firmer ground. As your reputation grows, the business expands and the sales increase. Any questions or feedback here? Any questions or feedback?
No questions, but I appreciate the information that you are sharing.
Fantastic. Thank you. Okay, so let's go to the next thing, right? So the reputation of your company is built through active participation in community programs, right? So you want to make sure you do one or two things. You want to make sure that you communicate effectively with other companies, with other brands, with other people that are in the same business. Do not fear that, hey, that's a big blogger, or hey, that's another business coach. You can't operate in fear. Remember, you never know. You opening your mouth and communicating, you know, that basically will open up doors, right? So a closed mouth never gets fed. The reputation becomes, instead of internal, if you're in business and you never communicate it correctly, then what happens is it becomes internal marketing, where you're marketing to yourself, right? And it becomes like a flaming fire inside of you. You have to market to other people. You want to market to other brands, other bloggers, other mentors, other coaches, other ministries, right? I see it all the time. People, their businesses die. It's something I call DOA, dead on arrival. I mean, they show up and it's already dead. And why does that happen? That happens because it's the internal communication. We don't externally communicate with anyone to let them know, hey, one or two things, I'm in business, or I actually have this product, this service, and this is who I service, right? So what happens is, people keep scrolling. They don't look at what you're selling, right? The emails don't grow because the content is not enough information. Or we minimize because we feel like sometimes if we don't share enough information, hey, should I share all this information? Should I give out all this information? Which is nuts, right? Share, 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 right? Remember, your gift that God gave you is not for you. It's for this kingdom. Although we are not of this world, we're here. We have the dominion in this world. So we want to share it. The more you share, the more people will start picking up the information that you're releasing. So when you share that external information, it becomes externally growth, right? It prospers. The quality of your products and services that you've created or supported, it will match your marketing efforts. Okay, moving along. Okay, also don't forget, if you hear something that's like an OMG moment, make sure, please use hashtag pro class, DBS pro class, okay? So the next thing we're gonna talk about is marketing also fosters an environment in the marketplace. So let's think about the marketplace, right? Let's think about the fostering of all products, all services that are in the marketplace, right? So when we think about it, we want to look at a healthy completion plan, right? So your marketing effort gets the word out on your products and your services. Write it out. If I could share with y'all, I don't know if I have one in here, but I have tons and tons and tons of workbooks of marketing content. Well, yes, it was a given that, I managed $13 million, and that's not just done overnight. It took time, it took planning, it took a strategy, so for you to say, hey, LaShonda, my goal this week is to make, $1,000. Well, how are you going to do that? What tools do you have in place? How are you going to sell $1,000 if you don't have anything that's priced at $200, $300? We have to start working healthy. And when I say healthy competition, I mean not the competitor, literally, I mean within yourself. Right? Your only competitor is you. Do not fear the big name brands. Okay? So give me 1 second. Let's see. All right. Thank you, guys. As opposed to companies that have had a monopoly on products and services that can charge almost any price, marketing helps keep pricing competitive for a business to try to win over customers before its competitors do it, right? So if a competitor is fighting with you, or if a competitor is doing, whatever system they have in place, whatever strategy they have in place, what happens is you have to make sure that you're doing your part, right, on your products and services. See, your competitor, they're not worried about the charges. They're not worried about the pricing. They're not worried about any of that information. What they're focused on is what they offer as a brand. Without competition, think about it. If you didn't have any competition, and when I say that, emphasis on quote unquote competition, right? How are they selling products? If you undersell them for $5, does not mean you're automatically going to have a new client. If you undersell them by, $20, that does not automatically mean that you'll have a new client, right? You want to be mindful in that, that you don't minimize what you offer, what you bring to the table, because your competitor is scaring you. Marketing facilitates a healthy competition that allows small businesses and solopreneurs, just like everyone probably on here, and new businesses to be successful as they enter the growth of the marketplace. So let's look at it. Let's look at the growth of a marketplace, right? When we look at the growth, when a child is starting to learn to walk, it's baby steps, right? What do they start doing? They start kind of wiggling first. Then they learn how to kind of sit up, right? They can't just start running. They can't just start walking. Then they crawl. Well, first they scoot and then they crawl, and then they're still wobbly, they're unbalanced. So as a business owner, you have to build up to that. If you say, hey, LaShonda, Walmart is my brand, that's the brand I am going after. Okay, we'll do it. But you also have to know that you have to grow healthy throughout the marketplace. Remember, every level of marketing and branding comes sometimes with adversity. So you have to, one, as a women of faith and men of faith, we have to, one, stay prayed up. We have to make sure that what we do is in excellence if we're going to have the dominion. Okay. If y'all have questions, please leave it in the chat section. Okay. Next thing is your summary. Let's look at your marketing summary, the past, the present, and the future. Marketing summaries are important. Why are they so important? Everyone should have a summary, right? Marketing is no good if it's in your head. Write it out, make it plain. Okay? Because you want to make sure you do checks and balances and make sure you go back and you say, hey, did I follow this process? Did I reach this goal? Did this work? Right? So when we look at it, the purpose of including an executive summary and marketing a plan is to introduce the company, explain all the key elements of the plan in a shorter form, right? So what we're doing is we're shrinking down what our summary is, the larger scale executive summary. So your goal may be, hey, I want to make $20,000 on this product. I want to do it in the next 60 days. All right. So when we look at it and we look at that product, we say, hey, okay, if I want to make $60,000 or $20,000 on this specific product in the next 60 days, how do I get that done? How do I make it happen? Right? So what you want to do is one or two things. You have to have some high dollar clients. This is what I would tell you as your business coach and mentor. This is what I would say. You know what? You need to have 10 high price items, whether it's $9.97, $5.97. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay. Can everyone hear me? Can y'all hear me? If you can hear me, okay. You can unmute yourself at any time when I ask questions. Okay. So when we talk about our high dollar items and we talk about our big dollar items, we want to look at the larger scale. So I would tell you as your mentor, your business coach, okay, you need at least 10 people or 5 people that are willing, if you want to make 20,000, that are willing to pay $1,000. Right? Okay. And let's minimize it. If you want to make $5,000, how am I going to make the $5,000? Right? How am I really going to do that, LaShonda? Well, one or two things. You want to either have high dollar items where it is, 10 people do pay $4.97, right? And then you want to look at, 30 people paying, $2.97. And when you do the math over time, the big scale of the marketing plan, when it comes to the financial side of it, then you'll meet your goal because you broke it down. I like to call this the 3-step tier plan. Okay, so anyone reading this summary will get a firm understanding of all aspects of this business, such as a summary of the perfect for those who aren't able to read the entire plan. So if you send your marketing plan over to me and I say, okay, I want to see your marketing plan. What are you rolling out right now? When I look at your plan and I say, okay, I'm scrolling through, I'm looking at it and I say, okay, I see she has a goal. She needs to sponsor, or she's looking to raise, $5,000, $500. Okay, you know what? Dream Build Success, here's $100, right? Or you know what? I'll go ahead and I'll sow this much. Same thing. It's always a good idea to prepare an executive summary, right? Why do you want that executive summary? Because I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, one day someone may ask for it. So you want to have your shorter summary and then your executive summary. Okay. Each section should be clearly marked in whichever order you think it fits best with your company's missions and goals. Any questions on this part? Okay. No questions? Okay, so let's go to the key components of a marketing summary. Okay, there are some key components to your marketing summary that we want to look at. It's imperative. Describe all the different products and services that your business offers. So when you look at all the products, all the services that your business...
I said sit down in the chair and wait for your food.
1 second, y'all. Okay, so when we look at all the products and services and what the business offers, we have to write it clearly to the point and list each item, right, to give a description of how that product or service will be used in business. How will the product be used in business? How will the service be used in business? Describe how long will it be in business, right? How long will you, roll this plan out? Who is this plan for? Okay. So in that, you want to look at your annual sales figures, your customers, the accomplishments you want people to know about. This is what I like to call the way you brag, right? You're not bragging on you. You're bragging on the glory of God, that God used you to implement such a impactful, process. You can look at it 3 different ways: people, processes, and products, right? So when you look at that, this is God's glory. We brag different when we're Christian women. We know the power is not by us. We know the strength is not by us. The intelligence is not through us. It's God using us. It's His grace and mercy. If this is a new business, describe your qualifications. You will have to run it successfully. right? And I highly advise you getting a business mentor, sending it over to us so we can look over it, right? You want to make sure that this is streamlined, you know. Introduce your business partners and management team. Do a case study. Ask your team, hey team, what do y'all think about this? This is a program I'm rolling out. This is a campaign that I'm rolling out. This is a new event that I'm hosting. This is my new book. This is my campaign. Okay, so let's go to the next thing. I'll unmute you right now. If you have questions, go ahead and ask your questions at this time. Okay, no questions, we'll keep moving. Okay, let's go. Let's look at it. Okay, explain the structure of your business. List the different departments. You know, break it down. Who are the board directors? If you're a nonprofit organization, who's on that board? List any professionals that will be utilizing the support of your operations, such as accountants, lawyers. Who are you talking to? Who's your target market? You know, describe your company's mission statements, objectives, and futures. Include a short statement about your company's main marketing objectives, tactics, and how this will be carried out. How will you accomplish these goals, right? You want to look at it. Okay, so let's look at this little chart right here. Let's look at a marketing summary. Okay, market your past, present, and future. Right? So when we look at the marketing, the past, the present, and the future, right? We want to look at the shares, the different shares, right? We want to look at the cost of pricing and competition. The mass market follows, you know, XYZ. Number of customers. Excuse me, y'all have to get a cough drop. So when we look at the mass market of your followers, we look at the end of life of it, how the time of it, the number of clients. You should know your numbers. You have to know your numbers. It is unacceptable to launch any product, service, campaign without knowing your numbers. Excuse me, y'all, I got to get a drink of water. So you have to know your numbers. What am I talking about? You should know down to the penny. This is a way the enemy will steal from you. He'll steal your ideas. He'll steal your money. He'll steal your campaigns. People will steal your ideas. We get mad. We think people are stealing our ideas, but you got to do the work, right? I've been there. Do the work. So the next thing is your product marketing. Why, how, and when. This is one of my favorites. This is one of my favorites, right? Your products and your marketing. So what I like to do is I like to write all my products down. I like to get a little list down. I like to write all my products down. I like to make sure that, you know, that this is, you know, top notch, right? Making sure that I have this together. I feel that this is one of the reasons a lot of companies, you know, or entrepreneurs are not so successful, right? Because they don't do this part, okay? So your product definition, do you have a clear-cut definition of your product, your service, your skill, your ministry? Can I identify your content without talking to you? It should be that clear. It should be that clear, right? So how do you define a product? What about any other services that you plan on providing, right? How do you define those? Another question is, what is the product? Can I tell by the name of the product? Can I tell by the title of the product what I'm getting? When I call this webinar Breaking the Bank, this is how you break the code. You have to do the work behind the scenes. It's no smoke, it's no magic, no schemes. You have to do the work behind the scenes, right, to make it happen. So how will you define your product? So let's look at it. How can a product be good, a service be good, or idea consistently, bundle a tangible or intangible attribute that satisfies your consumers? Do you understand your consumers? Right? When you think about your consumers, do you understand what your consumers need? Do you understand what your consumers are looking for? Right? Do you understand what your consumers are looking for? So when we look at your product definition, we want to look at it. Okay, can y'all see me? Hold on. Give me 1 second. Let me make sure I got y'all on. Okay. Hold on, guys. We look at the product definitions. Hold on, y'all. Do y'all want to chat? Anybody has any questions so far? Let me put up the chat box so y'all can go ahead and chat. There we go. Any questions right there, okay? There we go. Okay, very good. So when we look at our products, we look at our services. Give me 1 second, guys. Clear my drawings. There we go. What can someone say about your product? What can someone say about your service? What can someone say about what they received in exchange or the value of it? How an organization views a product depends upon the perspective. When I opened the webinar, the first thing I told you was you have to change the perception. You have to change the perception of what you offer, of what your business is about, what your product is about, what your skills are about, right? It's the perception. Does it look like poverty? Does it look like it's beat up? Does it look like it's old and washed up? What does it look like, right? Okay. So when we think about that, we have to make sure it depends on the perspective. During the webinar earlier, I asked everyone, if you hear something that gives you an OMG moment, or if maybe you get an idea, please share and tag us in that post. We want you to use DBS Pro class. And at the end of the class, I'll give out a free gift. Y'all know I like giveaways. So let's look at the next thing. When we look at the definition of a product, right? It's the organization. Are you production oriented? Are you producing on autopilot? One or two things can happen. You can produce, and not perform. You can produce, and not plan it out. It don't make sense, whatever, right? Or you can plan, produce, and profit, right? With the right strategy. According to what your consumer is saying. Okay, so before you launch a product, have you taken a case study? Have you asked the consumer? Have you asked the people that are buying your products what they think about this? At the beginning of the year, I asked Dream Build Success, the subscribers, what do you want? What do you need? What do you like? A 1-question survey. That's all I asked. What kind of product do you want me to release? What do you like? Do you like events? Do you like my workshops? Do you like my webinars? Do you like the blog? Do you want me to do more one-on-one coaching? Hands down, they love the workshops, my live classes. They loved the events. The conference was the #1 answer. Workshops, they love the webinars. Why? Because it's so much information that's giving, it can sustain you for the next 6 months to a year. There are people that have been to events in the past, and this is a service that we provide in the past, and they're still gleaning off of what we did last year. Okay, let's keep going. Any questions so far? Any feedback? Okay, very good. Let's look at your product definition. When we look at your product definition, you have to consider the product in the target customer perspective. What's the target market? What's the market that you're going for? Like cosmetic companies, are you climbing chemicals to make makeup, lipsticks, vitamin manufacturers that produce little pills, watchmakers that produce mechanical devices? What is the perspective? How do they see it? You can never go into the Rolex place with I like Anne Klein, so I'm gonna say Anne Klein. Anne Klein perspective. That was one of my number one watches when I was in retail. It took a licking and kept on ticking, just like Timex. So are you speaking to the Rolex clientele or the Timex clientele or Anne Klein? I like Anne Klein, but I like Rolex. So what kind of client are you talking to? Okay. I know a lot of people have Bible studies, so I'm going to go ahead and finish up. We may have to do a part 2. The competition. What is the competition saying? Let's look at the competition landscape. So price goes up, performance goes out, right? So provide an overview of products, competitors, their strengths and weaknesses. Position each competitor product against a new product, right? So the pricing and the performance. Pricing goes up, performance should go out. It should be bigger and wider. The positioning. Positioning of a product or service is a statement that distinctively defines the product in its market against its competition over time. For an example, Coca-Cola is the number 1 beverage company in the world. How do you do that? 1, the positioning. They did something bold, a red can. You can identify it a mile away, right? Not a lot of fuss. Coke is red. You have, Sprite is green, right? You got the polar bear. Their product is reasonably priced, but they are global. They are spread wide, so they make more money because they win in bulk. The consumer promise, a statement summarizing the benefit of a product or service to a consumer. Do you promise? Do you guarantee? Do you stand behind something like that? This is important. Many companies don't do that anymore. Why? Because the liability in it. Okay? Communication strategies. How are you communicating to your audience? Every time you post on social media, it should be like the very first time you ever posted. If you have a product that you're trying to push and promote, you should be excited. Show some pictures with you having that product on. No one will sell your product like you. If you don't know how to sell products, you need to go to a class. If you are an introvert, not in a negative way, an introvert, the enemy in the world has perverted that word. What an introvert is someone that is to their self. They're people, they may be a people person, but when they need to get their strength, they stay quiet in a secret place. They let God download to them, and then they go back out like a lion, right? So your communication strategy, how are your communication skills? Your messaging by your audience. Are you inconsistent? What's your target market? If you want high dollar clients, you have to go to the places where they spend money. You have to go around, those offices downtown. You have to go to Neiman Marcus. You don't have to buy anything, right? You need to go to, I'm in Houston, Texas, so we have stuff like Post Oak. That's a higher end location, right? Real market-based, concentrated, consumer. The demographics are there. Most people make about 150 to 200,000, right? So when you go there, go get you a Starbucks, sit there, communicate. Go on a field trip. Last week we gave the class, I gave everybody a field trip. Go out there and go Test drive a Mercedes. Go out there so you can experience that level of up level, that luxury. And maybe you're already there. Go to the Benz place, or what else do they have? Rolls Royce. Go sit in there, right? So let's look at the next thing. Implementing a planning technique. What's your newest technique, right? What's your new technique? What are you doing that's different? Are you still doing the same old stuff over and over, expecting different results? Come on, guys. It's unacceptable. We have to go beyond that. The packing and fulfillment of your products. How are you packaging your products? Are you doing bundle deals? Does the pricing look good? Does the strategy of the product? Are the colors real good? Are the colors real funny? I would really admonish you to go and do some research about the colors. What is the process about fulfillment, right? Is it being shipped directly? The COG, the cost of goods. High level bills of materials. Are you using the right material? Okay. Your launch strategies. Let me see how many more slides we got, guys. 22. Okay, so when we look at it, what does your launch strategy look like, right? What does your product look like? Your launch strategy, how are you making it happen? If a product is announced, how are you promoting the product? Who's helping you? Who has your back when you release a new product? Supply a backup material and detail budget information, right? Let's look at your information. So the next thing we want to look at, when we look at the information and we look at our products, the supply and the backup of that product it's in 3 different phases. And I love this part of your launching your business strategy and your marketing strategy, because every 90 days you should be releasing a new product. Remember, when you release one product, it should live for a lifetime. Invest in products and services and content, information, programs that live for a lifetime. The trends are popular right now. Everybody's talking about Instagram, right? Facebook. But remember, you do not own the rights to that. You don't own the rights to Facebook. It doesn't matter if that's your handle name. Right? You do not own the rights to Instagram, LinkedIn, none of that. But what you do not own the rights to is your product, your service, your plans, your core principles. So with that, you want to simply roll that out every 90 days, strategically. Okay? The next thing is the public relations of that. Your strategy and execution plan, your PR strategy. What's the PR strategy of it? Who's going to handle that part of it? Who's going to help you promote it? Who's going to talk to a broader audience? Now, I tell entrepreneurs all the time, if you get upset because people are not buying your products, your friends are not buying your services, your friends are not buying your content, they're not doing anything like that, don't get upset. Why? The thing is, if you depend on your friends and family to service you, you have already failed. You failed. You might as well close the door, close your laptop, and not even get started. They're not always going to support you. Now, like me, I have pretty good friends and families. They do support me. But what I had to do was create really good stuff, content, products, goods, services, that they wanted to buy it. For those of you that are watching this webinar and participating, if you're in ministry, maybe it's church, do not depend on the church folk. I'm telling you, right? They will not always buy your products. They will not always buy your services, and that is okay. If that's the audience you're talking to, don't waste time on a website. Don't waste time on a company cell phone, on a logo, building a platform. You failed already. Get that out of your mind. Get free. Free your family. Free your friends from holding them as prisoners of war because you're warring against the spirit because you believe that they should do that. That is the wrong strategy. But what you can do is execute a plan that highlights your high dollar, your products, your good, your elite, your premium products, services, including your editorial calendar, right? So on your calendar, you want to look at your calendar and roll it out every 90 days, every 90 days. You know, I'm creating content, I'm creating product, I'm creating services. I have conference schedule, I have workshop schedule. You don't want to beat them up. You want to flip-flop it, right? And rotate it. Speaking engagements. Am I out there speaking? Am I supporting? Listen, before someone will support you, sometimes you have to support them. That is one of the top ways that I received some of my clients, my premium clients. Some of my clients are in the NFL. I have clients that are political elite, medical elite, you know, administrators of hospitals, because I contributed, one, with the word of God, two, a service that I provided, a prayer, maybe it was just something I put out. And then what happened? That was like, that's different. You need to do the same. Okay. Any questions? I'll open it up right now and I'll unmute you guys if y'all have questions. Go ahead. Perfect. Okay, so when you look at it, to be thanks, that's an awesome question. When we look at being a public speaker, if you want me to address something, guys, you can put it in a private chat. You don't have to share with everybody, okay? So if you want to be a public speaker, or if you want to talk to a broader audience, you have to start talking, right? You have to start talking about your business. You have to start talking about your products. You have to start talking about your content. You have to start talking about what you do, right? You know, when I stand in front of 100 people or 1,000 people, or how many ever thousands of people, you know, it took time. You know, I got delivered from the spirit of fear. It's a spirit. It was a stronghold that had a yoke around my neck that wanted me to be quiet and not talk about how amazing God was, how amazing, you know, and fearfully and wonderfully made. You know, everyone that I come in contact with is made. So I had to start practicing. I started practicing. God bless. I practiced on my mom. I practiced on my dad. I practiced on my sisters. I practiced on the dream team. I practiced on my husband. I had to start practicing. You know, I've taken a lot of speech classes, right? When I first got to college, I thought I wanted to be on TV. I wanted to be the young lady that is the anchor in journalism, not knowing that I had the call of God on my life to minister, you know, whether through prayer, through teaching, all kind of different facets, right? So what happened was I had to start practicing it. So then I was not scared. You know, I was a director for United Way, and I was a campaign coordinator in my private sector job when I was doing retail. I was known for making sure that we got the funds in for our campaign for breast cancer awareness, for the American Heart Association. When I worked for the government with them, my job was to communicate with the community, the nonprofits, on how to properly get certain benefits. So if you want to broaden your horizon, start going to different conferences, you know, go to trade shows. You have to have, I'm going to give y'all a real good nugget that I really give to all my coaching clients. You want to have y'all get a pen. You want to have a virtual bio that you can send from your cell phone. A virtual bio. So what am I talking about? Like at any given time, I can send you a bio of what I do, who I talk to, what my audience is, how you can stay connected with me. Every business should have that. Your same website you need to have on your cell phone where you can inbox it immediately. So when you get home, you don't forget. right? And if you can't outsource that, you need help. That's something that's outsourced. If you say, hey, I have no idea where to start, well, inbox me and I'll send it. That's something that we offer also, but you can research that and get that done. A virtual bio. But you want to remember before you do that, if you're looking to, I wonder if I could do a poll. If you're looking to get a certain type of clientele, you have to remember that with that, you have to make sure that it looks a certain way. Is it professional? Is it for personal development or professional development? When I speak to ministers, my bio looks totally different than my business bio. Right? If I'm going to a women's conference where we're going to be praying and, really just that one-on-one intimate, it looks different than when I'm going to corporate America and I'm speaking. So when it comes to advertising, I hope that answered. If that answered, let me know. If y'all have questions, please send it, put the questions in the chat box. If you don't want everyone else to know your questions, you can send it privately so I can address everyone's questions at this time. Remember, if you heard something that gave you an idea or breakout moment, any breakthroughs, anything like that, you want to make sure that you hashtag it DBS Pro Class. And at the end of this session in this webinar, the live class only, I will be giving out something great. I'm super excited. I can't wait to give it out to you guys. So let's look at advertising. When it comes to the strategy and execution of your advertising, the overview of your strategy is important. What's the big picture? What's the overview of it? Then the overview of the media and timing, right? Go get professional pictures completed, right? What's the media looking like? Have you invested in a media package? A media package is imperative. The overview of the ad spending. I have my success boot camp coming up, and that's one thing that we're doing. We're going to actually work on a media package. Have you been featured? What websites? Are you a blogger? Certain things that we have to pinpoint when you advertise. What does your advertising look like? Let's look at the big brands. Chick-fil-A. Everyone knows Chick-fil-A is synonymous with the cow, right? The subliminal or the discreet message is they're faith-based, they're Christians. Let's look at Hobby Lobby. When you go in there, they play praise and worship. You won't hear any R&B or blues, right? Okay, when you look at that, that is what their advertising looks like. They're not going to do a whole bunch of fluff or anything like that. Let me tell you something. The difference between Neiman Marcus and Hobby Lobby is looking for the regular, stay-at-home mom, the DIY person. But I'll take it up a notch. But when you go to somewhere like Crate and Barrel, or you go to the Container Store, it's a different clientele. Same, but different. You'll get more cleaner lines, more streamlined colors, not a lot of fluff, not a lot of fuss, a little bit of everything. A lot of as seen on TV products are featured. So the media, when you look at the media of your rollout of your advertising, what's the timing of it? Now, I want to give y'all another nugget that's really big. Write this down. Do you understand when your market that you're talking to, when do they like your content? Have you looked at the time? Are they 5 a.m. people? Are they 8 a.m. people? Are they 10 a.m. people? Are they 10 p.m. people? Instagram just threw a big wreck and a wrench into everybody's stuff because they changed a whole bunch of stuff, right? They did a whole bunch of hashtag banning and all kind of stuff. So whether you've been buying Facebook ads, you've been buying newspaper ads, maybe you've been buying content ads, whatever your overview for your spending is, whatever the overview of your products are, do you understand the timing of it? Any questions on this part? I want to give you an example. Y'all can put your questions in, or I'll unmute you if you want to talk, okay? But one thing I understood very clearly was, and when I managed the $13 million in women's apparel, one thing that I understood very well, I actually managed a whole division. It was up to 17 million, but my main focus was 13 million in women because I knew if mom didn't shop, if sister didn't shop, girlfriend didn't shop, it wasn't going to happen. Mom shops for everybody. I knew that I had to understand in that territory or division of where I was in location, who was I talking to? Yes, ma'am. Go ahead. I'll go ahead and unmute you.
Okay, nobody else can hear me, right? Hi.
I can hear you, Kanisha. Kanisha, if you will, if you don't want anyone else to hear you, you can go ahead and send it in the chat box.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to do that.
Okay, I'll send a chat and let's see if you can pull it up.
Okay.
I'm glad to see you, ma'am. I got
Yes.
your message. Yes. Okay. Okay, let's see. Turn your phone, if you're on a cell phone, turn your phone sideways and you should be able to see it.
No.
Let's see. Did that come across your screens, ladies and gentlemen?
A DBS thing came across.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so while we're going on with that, we want to look at the overview of our strategy, right? We want to look at the timing of it. How is it rolling out? The process of it rolling out, right? It's so important that you understand the timing of it. Okay. Got it. Okay, so when we look at direct marketing and we look at what the direct marketing is, and we look at our promotions and our content, right? One thing we also want to look at is, amen. Thank y'all. Y'all are so nice. Okay, so when we look at our marketing and we look at our content, sometimes, I remember when I first started a business, I was like, well, I want to do this, but such and such idea is good too, right? But I'm not trying to take her spirit on because, see, I'm going to be honest, I see a lot, y'all. And I know everybody on here, we could just be transparent, right? But I'm like, well, what about my idea? When I host my class, I want to talk about God. Can I trademark that? Can I brand that? Can I get a patent for it? What you can do is start with the business license. You can start with your LLC. You can get your business idea. You want to also talk to a tax attorney. If there's, say, for an example, if you want to own a daycare, well, there's 50 other daycares, but your daycare is different because you want to have a daycare for autistic children. You want to have a daycare for, autistic children that are for low income families. Should I patent that idea? Because that's a good idea, LaShonda. Should I protect that idea? The best way to protect it right now is to get your license, your business. You want to make sure that if you are going to patent it, do your research. Is it going to be national or international? When you're talking about trademarks and patenting, there's a process. Sometimes it could take 6 months, years. You want to make sure that you understand the whole process of it and the cost that comes with it. But remember, I want y'all to hear me with the spirit of humility in Christ. What God has for you is for you, and nobody cannot steal it. They may try to duplicate it and they may try to do it, but when God gave that to you and he birthed that in you, and he said that according to Jeremiah, that he knew you, that nobody can do it like you. Like for me, for an example, and a coach is a little different, like a mentor and a coach. For me, I created Dream Build Success because I wanted to hang out with my friends. Everybody, even though you may be my coaching client or a dream team, we're all friends, and I may be a mentor to you. And, I have daughters in the ministry and things like that. But for me, my goal was to create something that I don't care if anybody else does it. I know my prayer life. I know my supplication and my consecration. I know the word of God and the fire of God that's in me, and the ability to birth. Not nothing stillborn. I birth promotions in the spirit, businesses in the spirit, $1,000, $100,000 contracts and so forth, right? And nobody can take that. It's not in me though. It's in God. So even when we talk about rolling out our businesses, rolling out our campaigns, rolling out other information, we want to make sure that we remember that what God has for you is for you. So it's completely, for those of you that have, I'm glad I said that about the private, because now the question's coming in. Whoop, whoop. But when you think about that, you think about rolling your plan out and rolling out that product or that service, and you really want to look at it, it's up to you. I believe that no devil can steal what God has for you. No witch, no troll, no warlock, none of them. None of it. As a matter of fact, I bind it up in the name of Jesus, and I loose the presence of God, right? Anything that's strange, anything that's weird, anybody that will try to come around you that don't mean you no good. Let me tell y'all something. You better start decreeing and declaring over your business, right? Over your strategies, over your projects, over your plans, over your contracts. Let's look at the next thing, the overview of a strategy. Let's look at the overview of your strategy, right? So when you look at did that answer your questions? I hope that did.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Y'all can go ahead and ask at this time. Y'all know I got excited. Okay, so let's look at the next thing. Overview of a strategy, the vehicles, the timing, overview of your response targets, your goals and budgets, right? So let's look at your third-party marketing, co-marketing arrangements with other companies. So if you co-collaborate with someone, okay, now I want to tell y'all something, because y'all know I can only give you what God gives me. Pray about that, right? You don't want to be yoked up with somebody that don't have a same type of lifestyle as you. The word of God says that you try the spirit by the spirit, right? So pray, ask God, is this who you want me to be with? Is this the business partner? Is this someone I should collaborate with? God, show me the hidden things. Pray, okay? Then you can go ahead and do it. And remember one thing, all money is not good money. Because let me tell you, it's some contracts out there that you'll have to sell your soul for $1, your brand and your business. So when we look at the marketing programs, you want to look at other promotional programs, right? When you roll your digital marketing or your content or your book, or maybe you open up your daycare, what other promotional programs? So y'all, I'm super excited. I don't know if y'all had a chance to purchase my book yet, but I'm going to talk about it a little bit. But in my book, I show you how to make one income grow, one business idea grow so many times, you're going to be like, I can't take no more. Right? So how can you take that one idea, say you want to open a daycare, and listen, I'm going to break it down. My hairstylist, because I love to talk to them. My hairstylist, I tell them all the time, why are you standing behind the chair? I need you to get from behind the chair so much. I want you to write a book. I want you to create some workshops. I want you to become an educator where you only have to work 3 days a week or once a week and make $5,000 or $3,000 or $2,000. So we break it down and we look at how much you're making this week, right? When it comes to your marketing, how many products, how many heads do you have to do or sew? How much weave do you have to do to make your month? Or you can have 2 classes a week and make the whole month. I don't know about you, but how many of y'all would like to work twice in a month? 2 days out the month. I got crazy faith, right? So when it comes to your enrollment from your product, your plan, maybe you have a daycare. How many of you would like to have your daycare and enroll 30 children into your daycare, or maybe 300 children in one day at, $1,000 each? Or I don't know how much, was a daycare like 500? Say everybody pays $500. Do the math. How are you going to implement that? How are you going to strategize to get that out? You need to partner with newspapers. You have to partner with the schools. I would go, and if you're somebody that's in daycare, talk to the moms. Where do the soccer moms hang out? Who else? Right? So maybe you're a minister and you want to change the environment of your ministry. You want to invite more millennials. Go where the millennials go. Go to Dave and Buster's. Talk to the young adults. I'll tell you what, I'll tell y'all a funny story. How many of y'all, you see, like somebody might be a youth pastor and they like 90 years old? That might be, maybe that's just me. I'm like, youth pastor, you could be a youth overseer, not throwing any shade or judgment or anything, but that's strange. Now, I thank God for the women and men of God that poured into my life. I'm from a small town. So everybody that was like young adults my age, they were still out there in the worldly, right? 10% saved. Not 20%, 10% saved. They just said Jesus wept and they got baptized one time. Right? So if you're growing your ministry, you have to talk to, what do they want? What do the children want? I think one way ministries fail and businesses fail is because they don't ask, what do the children want? What do y'all like? What makes you happy? Right? Okay, so let's look at the next thing. Also, when I talk about promotional products, are you releasing BOGOs? Right? Buy one, get ones, bundle deals, a free fur, right? If you buy this, you get this for free. When it looks at the pricing, are you priced outrageously? Now, I'm not saying you may not be at that value or that price point, but what I am saying is make sure you know your market. I heard a woman of God say that I was coaching, teaching. She was struggling in sales. And I'm like, this don't make no sense because I know what you offer. And I'm pretty good. And if I would have told you to go down 100, that probably would have been. But you know what she was saying? It's just hard out here. People don't have money. People are struggling. Where that spirit come? That's strange fire. That's a poverty mindset. That's a poverty mindset. You speaking that over your mindset. You're speaking that over your businesses. You're speaking that over your clientele. Right? Very good. So what happens, right? So what happens when you see what you did or what your idea was launch? Somebody else launch it. Something similar. And he gave it to you 10 years ago or 5 years ago or 3 years ago. Right? So you have to decree and declare that God is creating in you a new heart, a new vision, a new spirit. You're not losing what he gave you originally, but what you want to do is you want to redefine it. Remember, they can make it and they can do it. But okay, so let's look at funds. And that might be another class. If y'all are wondering about funds or anything like that, let me know. I might do a marketing class where I do talk about funding. Or I can have a guest host on. The blessed part is we know a lot of everybody with Dream Build Success. So how do I invent it when I don't have help and I don't have the funds to do it? Sometimes you have that idea sitting right there, but what you have to do is you got to create 3 other things to service that idea. This is my 8th year in business, and Dream Build Success was in me, but it wasn't burning in me a long time ago. I had to do a few things, being very transparently. I had to make a certain amount of funds so I could launch my dream. So I could pour into entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs, men entrepreneurs, me and my husband, right? We had to do that because we had to make sure we had the funds to do it. It costs. But what you can do right now is do all the research. So for some of you that are looking for funds, you need to go to sba.gov. This is a nugget too, right? What is that? Small Business Administration. You can get a government contract. It doesn't have to be your money. Y'all, I'm about to shout. That right there, I'm about to run. It does not have to be your funds. Sometimes we think, oh, I need to raise the money. Oh, I need the funds. Or I need that. What about grants? Okay, grants are good, but how about getting some funds from the feds? Right? You got to do a lot of research and homework, but it's worth it. I have a lot of people, entrepreneurs, that when they first get started, they don't have funds. And I tell them, okay, so have a garage sale. They're like, what? Get rid of the old so God can produce the new. One of my strongest testimonies is when I share that when we first started our business, I got laid off my job and I owed like $20,000, right? Because I took my 401k out, all of my money, all of it. And because of the spirit of fear, but we needed to start our business, you know, we had to scrape together $200. And one of the ways I did that was, boo, from way back when, I sold that gold jewelry. My husband got some stuff. We had a garage sale. We sold like Nikes and everything. We had a word from God and we had a vision. That's it. And we was so tired of being sick and tired that we just went to do it. So let's look at pricing. I hope this is helping y'all. I mean, I'm excited. So let's look at pricing. Summarize your specific pricing or pricing strategies and compare it to a similar product. So if you're a shoe creator and you created some fantastic shoes and they're $130 because they cost you $50 to make, but then I go to DSW and I see some shoes for $70. I like you and I really care about you, but right now I'm with DSW. Make sure you're priced appropriately. So compare similar products, compare similar services. What are your policies? Summarize your policy relevant to understanding your key pricing issues. Okay? Listen, y'all listen. Correct price means getting paid. The correct price for your product or service means you will get paid. You have to decree and declare that over your business, over your plans, over your products. For some of you, you don't need another business idea. You just need a mentor or coach to show you and give you some nuggets to wake you up. You sleepwalking. Right? So when I talk about pricing and getting paid, I'm also talking about, have you paid for what you're willing to charge people for? Have you paid $1,000 for a product, but you want to coach people for $1,000? Have you paid $50? Have you paid $100? Have you paid for somebody else's book that's $30 before you charge somebody? It's levels to this. Now God can supernaturally blow you up overnight. We see it happen all the time. Okay, so let's look at next, distribution. How much is it going to cost for you to distribute your strategy? What channels of distribution are you going to use? Are you going to summarize your channels? You got to think about it, right? So I talked to a young lady today and she is a major player in Mary Kay. She's on her way to $1 million. So I told her, what strategy are you using? We came up with a key strategy to make sure that she meets that $1 million goal. She's on plan for it. They got like directors, national directors, all kind of different things. But she had to have a strategy. She is so out of the box with Mary Kay, you would never even know that she's with Mary Kay. Never losing the core principle, never losing the core program, none of that. But her marketing is, I mean, she can go against, you would think it's Chanel. It's Mary Kay, but because her branding is so on point, she's about to make $1 million in less than 4 years in the company. For some people, it doesn't take that long, but for her, because she was stay-at-home mom, there was a process to it. Boom, now. So your distribution by channel. Show your plan of what percentage share of distribution will be contributed to each channel. So break it down. So if you're a coach, okay, or say you're a writer, you have to get writing gigs, you have to get speaking gigs, you have to partner up with major players to get out there and sell your products. Is your idea of being an author just to be an author, or do you want to make some money? Do you want to sell 100 books, 200 books, 50 books, 5 books? What channels? You have to go beyond and diversify your campaign. Any questions? Did everyone get their workbook? Perfect. All right. Good. Okay. Thank you. If not, check your email. You have mail, like I like to say. I sent out a real good email, okay? So let's look at international distribution. Okay, Miss Gary, I am going global. My goal is beyond the States. I want to sell to Canada. I want to sell to South America. I want to sell to, the UK. I want to sell to London and Australia. Know the markets. Address the distribution strategy. What is your strategy? Before you sell books globally, are you protected? The specific. You have to know when you're distributing shirts, t-shirts, is it worth you to sell a $20 t-shirt overseas? How much is it going to cost for you to send it to Ghana? You need to know that. Have you done your homework? International pricing strategy. The dollar is different, right? For an example, if you go to Mexico and you want to go and buy a Coca-Cola, or I'll say a handbag, do you understand the peso is different from the US dollar? If you're in Japan, for those of you that are watching internationally, understand the dollar value, understanding the Japanese yen, it is a different value. Localization issues. Are you having issues locally? Highlight your requirements for local product variations. So when you look at a variation, if you're someone that has I have a young lady, she owns a floral shop and like a floral boutique, and unique business, right? But was having problems. So what I told her was, why are you not at trade shows? You need to do one trade show a month, preach to the masses, show the masses your products, invest that $100 or $200. You're going to make that in 1 hour at one trade show. Why are you worried about the minimal when God is calling you to a season of expansion? Don't look at the locals so much. Okay, let's look at your schedule, your marketing schedule. Let me see how many more. I thought I was. Oh yeah, we're doing good. Okay, so let's look at your marketing schedule, right? So earlier I talked about, remember to use DBS Pro class hashtag. Okay, so marketing schedule. This is how the 18-month schedule should look like. You should have a rollout about 18 months. Are you making funds off a product you launched 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 months? The timing is strategic. Isolate timing. It depends on the critical, how critical is it to your success, right? Are you gauging your milestones? Are you celebrating your rewards and your accomplishments? So let's look at task 1. Task 1 is about 3 months there, right? So that is the rollout of it. That is the product of it, the development of it, the process of it. Task 2 will actually be the implementation of that product, service, that information and content, the rollout of it, the promotion of it, the marketing of it. The marketing never dies. You have to have your business on autopilot. You shouldn't have to work so hard. Listen, I have a thing I say, cha-ching, cha-ching, I make money while I sleep. You should be able to do that. You should be changing lives, impacting lives, getting people saved, even in your sleep. How do I do that? 1, in all things with prayer and supplication. Number 2, I'm making sure that I'm also always implementing new processes, new content, new products, new people, or repackaging. Midways, which is midpoint, right? this is midpoint, the milestone that we just got out of. Am I repackaging my content? Am I taking new, fresh headshots? Is my website professional? Am I just putting poo and nay all over my Facebook and not making money off of the social media? Task number 3, and this is critical. In all processes, you want to give God glory, right? Are you getting testimonials? Are your clients talking about, oh my gosh, it was so much information? Under promise, never promise, but always overproduce. Under promise, but always overproduce. Right? Task 4 is the lifeline of the business. Right? It's the retirement of it. It's the retirement of the product. It's the re-rollout of the content. It's the re-rollout of the service, of the shirt. Change the variation of it. Make it a limited edition. Make it a limited class. Make it a limited enrollment, a limited process, a limited book. Are y'all hearing me? This is good stuff. I'm getting excited. You see, when I don't mean, when my voice gets elevated, I mean, I'm really into it. Okay. So how can I service you? How can Dream Build Success service you? Well, the good thing is I got a few things I want to go over. I hope this class helped you. At this time, I will go ahead and unlock it. If anybody wants to say anything, feel free. I want to tell you a few things that I want to go over really quickly. My new book. If you have not purchased, please purchase it. You can go on my website. You can go on social media. Dream Build Success. In my new book, it is amazing. It's amazing. It's not little. It's not no thin book, y'all. Okay? Okay. But on my book, I give so much information. I got content in here, right? Tips. I talk about questions. I talk about clarity, value, propositions. Let's talk about business. Are you doing a high priced hobby? Hello, somebody. I don't hear nobody. Come on, Jesus. So much information. And then at the end, I have a strategy workbook where I show you how to launch products. I give you a calendar. I give you the whole process, how to promote your brand. Okay? It's very good. So, if you will, okay, the next thing I want to talk to you about is boot camp, success boot camp. Now, imagine if you could go through a class like this for 3.5 hours, maybe 4 hours at boot camp. It's a very limited seating. I will not have over 20 people in the room because it is hands-on. Hands-on. Seats are already selling. You want to make sure that if you are here on July 29th, if you need to fly in, just your flight right now. You need to be in Houston, Texas. It's going to be amazing. I already know. Okay. The other thing is my coaching program. It's off the chain. We do a lot, but the coaching program is amazing. If you would like to be a part of my coaching program, just let us know. Let me know. I'll send that email. Had to get with one of my staff today. We got that email going out. So inbox me. Hey, LaShonda, I want you to be my coach. Now, I don't coach a lot because I have a lot that I do, right? But I am opening up my coaching program for 2 months, 60 days. For some of you, you've been sleeping on your dream for 5 years, 4 years, 10 years, 30 years. This year, we were able to help birth a client's business. The man of God had been sleeping on that vision for 30 years. Not on my watch. Not if I have anything to do with it. The devil is a liar. Right? So, if this has helped you, I ask that you send me a testimonial tonight, if possible. Okay? Guys, I'm super excited. I'm super excited about connecting with you. If you have questions, we're going to do a live Q&A right now. Go ahead and send your questions. Now, sometimes people get off of this, you get off your webinar and you're like, oh my God, LaShawn, I can't remember. It was so much. Any questions? Go ahead and shoot them right now. I have to get my water, y'all. I'm praying for you. I pray that this helped you, that this has helped your business. I thank you for sharing your time with me today. This was recorded, but I believe it's only going to be available for 24 hours. Pray that this blessed you and your family. I speak supernatural blessings and God's favor over you. And I just thank you. Now, the next class will be, give me 1 second. I want to make sure that we have our next class. We have a next class coming up. We're going to talk about pushing profits. Pushing profits. It's time out for you not getting paid. Okay? You need to get paid. It's time to push those profits. We want to break that bank. So today we broke the bank with marketing. This was all about marketing, rolling out products, services, good. The next class is going to talk about sales goals, daily goals, year-to-date goals, team goals, and we're going to talk about more money. If there's something you want us to cover, please let me know. Inbox me. You can follow me at LaShawn Gary or at Dream Build Success. Guys, be blessed. Talk to you soon. Good night.
Okay. Make sure you don't